So in 1990, I met a girl named Leslie, and we fell in love and got married. We bought a house and had a daughter. We added on to our house and had another daughter. And then one day, Leslie died and left me to raise our children on my own. So assuming that most of you have not shared this experience, let me give you the official top 10 list of best things about being a widowed parent. Number 1, everybody is really, really nice to you. Number 2, that ongoing argument about ceiling fan use in the bedroom, you've won it forever. Number 3, I lied. It's a top 2 list because there are only 2 good things about this situation. In polite daddy language, everything else about it totally stinks. The life you've made with that other person, the secret language, the world that you created together, it's destroyed. And for kids, it's even worse. Half of the only world they've ever known is gone. My children, Ella and Anna, were 5 and not quite 2 when their mother became a memory for them. And when they began to ask me questions like, why didn't mommy want to stay with us? One of my ways of coping with my new life as a widower father was to try and make things as much as possible like they were before. So before my wife died, our family loved to travel. We visited family in South Carolina, Ohio, and New York. We went hiking in the mountains, the beach in Florida, the lake in northern Michigan. But that was when we were 4, and now we were 3. A few months after Leslie passed away, some good friends called us and invited us to meet them for a long weekend in New York. This would be nice because we'd also get to spend time with Leslie's sister, Kathleen, who was living in Manhattan. So I thought this would be a good break for all 3 of us, but as the travel day got closer, I got more and more panicked. This wasn't a concern about going to New York. I knew the city well and been going there for years. My children had been visiting there since they were born to visit Aunt Kathleen. The fear was of my own incompetence. This would be my first time traveling with my girls on my own, and it had to go well. I had to prove to myself and to them that we could do this, and that perhaps this one part of their lives could be like it was before. So getting ready for the trip, packing was the first thing to do. So girls, how about if we pack all of your stuff in Ella's rolling suitcase? That'll be easy. No, was their joint response. Ella, who had just graduated from kindergarten, yet already possessed the keen negotiating skills of a seasoned K Street lawyer, looked at me and said, I really just want my stuff in my suitcase. Meanwhile, Anna, my sentimental little one, had gone into the nursery and come back holding her special suitcase, which was an old, hard-sided piece of luggage that my wife had rescued from a trash pile, repainted, relined with new fabric, and decorated with travel stickers. Now, we had used this to carry Anna's diapers and accessories when we traveled, but it was really beat up now, and there was no way it was going to hold what she needed for this trip. Later that night, the girls helped pick out their outfits for the trip. This meant that Ella wanted to take all of her fancy clothes, and that Anna wanted about 4 different outfits for each day of the trip. So after the fuss of the suitcases, I thought, I'm just going to accept all their clothing choices, and then after they're asleep, I'll really pack their bags, and they'll be none the wiser until we get to New York. The morning of our departure, I called Kathleen in New York for a little moral support. So Todd, how's the packing going? It's great. Well, it's okay. Actually, it's really stressful because I've got too many bags and not enough hands. I can't fold clothes. Their bags are a mess. And Leslie took care of this all the time and always made it seem so joyful. Todd, it's okay. Do you have the plane tickets? Yes. What time does your plane leave? At 11. Wait, let me check. Yes, at 11. Do you have diapers? Yes. Do you have underwear? Yes. Do you have your glasses? Yes, I do. Let's rock and roll. So my girls were already seasoned flyers at this point in their life. So once we got on the plane, I calmed down a little. But I got sweaty all over again trying to get us and all of our stuff through LaGuardia and into a taxi. But we did finally make it to our hotel, and it was great to see Kathleen and our friends. Later that night, our group stepped out to pick up some dinner, and that's when things got more complicated. You see, I had almost gotten used to mourning Leslie here in Washington. What I didn't realize is that I was going to have to mourn her in all those special places in that world that we created together. So as I walked around New York that night, it was like wearing a pair of glasses where one lens showed a normal view and the other lens showed ghost images of Leslie and I in New York. Those happy times we had there together were now history. But my girls were not living in the past. They were having too much fun exploring Chinatown, laughing with our friends, and eating ice cream. And they needed me there with them in the present, not living in the past. So as much as possible, I turned my attention away from the ghost and back towards my children. The next day, I was helping them get dressed for the day, and it quickly became apparent that I had basically packed one good outfit for each of them. The rest of the stuff in their suitcases seemed like a random assortment of objects just tossed in by an agitated monkey. Good job, Dad. So this top-notch packing job meant that Ella had to wear the same outfit twice, and almost all of Anna's outfits featured 3 different patterns. It also meant I had packed a toy for Anna that she had not used in over a year, that one of the girls had a raincoat and the other girl did not, and that I had packed tights for them to wear in New York in August. That day, we had such a good time running around the city that I started to relax a little. And by the time we got to FAO Schwartz in the afternoon, where we waited in that long line so the girls could dance on the giant floor piano, I was beginning to think the trip might turn out to be a success. On Sunday, we went to go see The Lion King on Broadway. Now, I'd never seen the movie, so I didn't know the story. And it turns out it is about a child losing a parent, as is so much of the Disney catalog. Bambi, Beauty and the Beast, Finding Nemo, and The Lion King. From the very first scene, my girls and I were totally hooked. And if you can sit through Circle of Life with dry eyes while your 2-year-old is on your lap squeezing your fingers, then you are a stronger man than me. The next day, we started our trek back home, and it still wasn't easy getting back through LaGuardia, but I was a lot less stressed, and Team Cain had a record of success, and we were ready to show what we could do. So when I was married, I used to take great pride in the fact that I was the guy that did all the meal planning, the grocery shopping, and the cooking. And now I realized I could be that guy who took his kids on trips. A few days after we got home, it had been yet another long day of trying to be mom and dad and feeling like I was crappy at both jobs. The kids were finally asleep, so the house was quiet as I sat down to look at some pictures from our trip. And there was one of our whole group in front of the Lion King Theater. And I looked exhausted and scared, but I was holding my girls' hands, and they were smiling, and we looked like a family. Thank you.
I like that he's nice because he's really funny.
I like that he makes fun of me, but then I tease him and we laugh.